We heard Keith Thurman call out Marcos Maidana.
That would be a nice fight, and it might happen. I like that. Keith Thurman's ready to fight somebody. He wants Floyd. He wants Maidana to be good for him.
Well, Maidana turned that fight down like twice before, right?
He won't turn down this time.
He wants it. You think?
No, he'll take it.
He gonna take it?
He saw the fight with his own eyes. He ready.
I mean, has he said anything afterwards though, or even before, that he wants to fight?
Maidana don't talk that much English. He always says Sam Watson, so that's all I want to hear. It's Sam Watson. It's my man.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So that was an interview I did with Sam Watson, Al Haymon's right-hand man, immediately following the Thurman versus Bundu fight, because Keith Thurman called out Marcos Maidana right in the ring, called him out. Maidana was sitting there ringside. Keith Thurman, he calls him out. So I asked Sam Watson, what are the chances of this fight being made? Now, keep in mind, I understood that Marcos Maidana, he turned down the fight twice already. So I was kind of skeptical that Maidana would take the fight. But as you heard in the interview, Sam Watson said, oh, man, he going to take the fight. He going to take the fight, right? That was the day of the fight. Now, fast forward to present day, and now Marcos Maidana, according to his advisor, is already singing another tune. According to Marcos Maidana's advisor, Maidana has very, very little interest in fighting Keith Thurman, and he would rather fight Amir Khan. Now, there's no doubt that a Maidana versus Khan rematch would be a good fight. There's no doubt about that. But let me tell you something, man. Sometimes I read the news or the boxing news, and I feel like I jumped in a DeLorean and went back in time when it comes to the double standards that exist in the sport of boxing. Allow me to elaborate. Now, Al Haymon, who is on the coincidental list, has been accused by writers and a lot of these fans of being the guy who pays these fighters so much money just to take easy fights, right? According to these ignorant ass fans, Al Haymon is the disease in boxing, and he is the reason why we haven't been getting big fights, right? According to these emotionally attached fans, Al Haymon doesn't believe in competitive fights. In other words, Al Haymon, he pays his fighters the most money, but he guarantees them the easiest fights. We've heard people say this before, right? We've heard people say this. But see, I interviewed Oscar De La Hoya, and we talked about Al Haymon, and he revealed the whole truth about Al Haymon, which was only common sense that everything that people had been saying was just an emotionally attached hate towards the man because he's on a coincidental list. But I'll drop that interview later on. I have so much footage, I haven't even dropped it yet or uploaded a lot of the footage yet. But anyway, the point that I'm making is, according to these decafs, Al Haymon is the reason why we're not getting these competitive fights. But as I always tell you guys, the truth will always break free. Because who's the one that's not interested in making this very competitive fight? According to his advisor, it is Marcos Maidana, right? It's not Al Haymon. In fact, Al Haymon is the one trying to make the fight. Let me give you some more facts. If Al Haymon is only interested in protecting his fighters and getting them the easiest fights, please explain to me why, soon as Al Haymon signed Miguel Vasquez, he puts Miguel Vasquez in the ring with Mickey Bay, who is not an Al Haymon fighter, and his fighter, Miguel Vasquez, loses to Mickey Bay. Listen, regardless of what you think of the decision, why would Al Haymon put his fighter in the ring with a guy who can possibly beat him? If Al Haymon is trying to protect his fighters, right? This card that took place this past weekend, that was an Al Haymon card, guys. Devin Alexander versus Amir Khan. That was an Al Haymon fight. That was a 50-50 fight. These guys wasn't in the ring with Mike Alvarado coming off of a loss, right? This was a 50-50 fight. It's amazing. I mean, the double standards in the sport of boxing are ridiculous, man. Let me give you some more contrast. Now, how is it possible that Marcos Maidana, he can turn down a fight 3 times against Keith Thurman? The first time he turned down a fight, you could give him a little bit of an excuse. You could say, oh, well, no one knew who Keith Thurman was. This guy has a high knockout ratio and I don't really know anything about him. So it's basically high risk, low reward. You could use that excuse the first time. But then the second offer comes, you turn it down. Now everyone knows who Keith Thurman is. Everyone is calling Keith Thurman the most avoided fighter. You turn down the fight a third time? And then you read the comments below the article, and these ignorant fans are already defending Marcos Maidana, right? He doesn't need to fight Keith Thurman. He doesn't have to. Keith Thurman is a nobody, so on and so forth. Now, why do I call these fans ignorant? I call them ignorant because these are the same fans that accuse Floyd Mayweather when he is actually calling out Manny Pacquiao. They're saying that Floyd Mayweather is afraid. Floyd claims he wants to fight Manny Pacquiao, but he doesn't really mean it, right? So this shit is unbelievable, man. I'm telling you, man, the double standards that exist in this sport is unfucking believable. Floyd Mayweather can call a fighter out. These fans will say that Floyd Mayweather is really afraid and he doesn't want to fight him. Meanwhile, Marcos Maidana, he can turn down not 1, not 2, but 3 offers to fight Keith one-time Thurman. And these same fans will turn around and say, Keith Thurman doesn't deserve to fight Marcos Maidana, right? And then these fans will go even further contradicting themselves by saying Floyd Mayweather is a coward because he's ducking Keith Thurman. Oh, but Marcos Maidana, he doesn't have to fight Keith Thurman because now, when it comes to Marcos Maidana, Keith Thurman is a nobody, right? As if Marcos Maidana is Floyd Mayweather now, right? As if Keith Thurman, he has to reach a certain level to fight against Marcos Maidana, who just came off of 2 losses in a row? Are you kidding me? And it's not just Marcos Maidana who didn't want this fight with Keith Thurman. The same fans who call Floyd Mayweather a chicken and a coward, they didn't want to see this fight either. Because I remember before the Bundu fight, at the weigh-ins, when Keith Thurman called out Marcos Maidana, then the fans start booing when Thurman said he wanted to fight against Maidana, right? So fans can't even use that excuse, oh, you know, it was a lackluster performance, Keith Thurman against Bundu, that's why I don't want to see that fight. No. These fans, they were booing the idea of Thurman fighting against Marcos Maidana even before the Bundu fight. Why is that? Why would these fans who claim they love to see knockouts, they love to see knockdowns, blood, sweat, and tears, etc., why would they not want to see 2 of the most explosive fighters in the ring? It's a rhetorical question. Because Keith Thurman is on the coincidental list. And they don't want a guy that's on a coincidental list to beat someone who ain't on a coincidental list, if you know what I mean. Marcos Maidana, supposed to be the tough guy, him and his gloves that he loves to wear and so on and so forth. Once again, you got an opponent who probably wouldn't even have a problem with you wearing your spongy ass gloves. And you still don't want to fight him, right? We don't hear Marcos Maidana trying to negotiate with Keith Thurman like Floyd did on numerous occasions with Manny Pacquiao. Just, we're not interested in the fight. Simply, we're not interested in the fight. Meanwhile, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, in that situation, Floyd Mayweather, he can negotiate, he can offer money, he could call the guy out, but these hypocritical ass fans will still say Floyd is afraid of Manny Pacquiao. This man Marcos Maidana can just say, I don't want to fight that guy. I'm not interested, and just walk away from the table. And they will turn around and defend this man. I tell you, boy, when you're on that coincidental list, you are damned if you do, you are damned if you don't. That's pretty much all I got. I'm on to the next one.